What's up, guys? Hey, Devs here. We're back with some more LeetCode. Um, Let me not knock over my precious Lego Darth Vader. I bet I elbowed it off my desk. I would have been very, very sad. But let me turn on a lamp. Maybe the lighting will be a bit better. If I can. Okay, I'm struggling. There it is. Okay, it's not much better. I think this is the earliest I've recorded a LeetCode video. I usually do. Well, I did one at like 7 in the morning one time and recorded it at like 10, and then usually I do it at night around like 8:30, or when I get off of work around 11. But today I got home from school around 2. I waited for my girlfriend to get home. We went to go see my mom's headstone. They finally got it up today, and now I'm making some dinner. So we have, I don't know if you can see that, 34 minutes to get this solution rolling. But as you can see, I went ahead and made a solution for this problem. We're doing some more linked lists. We're going to do linked lists and arrays probably this week. And I thought this one was fairly simple. It says, given the head of a linked list, remove the nth node from the end of a list and return its head. This one's a little bit, this one stumped me for just a second. I had to think about it a little too hard. So giving the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we want to remove the second from the end. So 5 would be the first, and then 4 would be the second. So we want to reroute 3 to point to 5 and remove 4 from the list. And it says the number of nodes in list is size. We don't know size. We know size is in between 1 and 30. Follow up. Could you do this in one pass? So it doesn't want us to iterate through the list, find the size and count the size of the list, and then iterate again up until that node and delete it. So it wants us to, through one loop, be able to find out what the end of the list, or what the nth node from the end is, and remove it. So my solution for this it's kind of similar to some of the other solutions. I mean, linked list problems are kind of similar. So we want to create a linked list called solution. And we want that to be equal to a list node, a new list node, node. Let me not put the space in there. And we'll give it a value of 0 and head. So this should, and then at the end we'll return solution.next. And then we need 2 more list nodes. One is going to be our iterator, and this is going to be equal to solution.next. And then one is going to be our previous node, so we can link the previous node around our iterator node. So, and then we'll just name it previous, and then set that equal to solution, right? And then we need a while loop to loop through the list while the iterator while iterator does not equal null. Does not equal null. We want to loop through it. And the way you loop through it is do iterator is equal to iterator dot next, and this is the control structure to loop through a linked list, right? And then we want to also set previous equal to previous dot next. Okay, so now that we have our loop, we know for sure this is going to loop over each value. The next thing we need to figure out is how do we find out what the nth from last value is. And what the solution I thought of was, if we create a temp variable, so not int, a list node temp, and we set that equal to the iterator, right? So if iterator is 1 and we're trying to find the second node, we want to loop, so we can do a for loop for int I is equal to 0, I is less than n, and then I plus plus. So we want to loop n times over temp and set temp equal to temp.next, right? And we want to see if temp is equal to null, and if it's equal to null, we know that it's the nth value from the list. So when iterator gets to 3, we will, or when iterator gets to 4, it's going to set temp equal to iterator. So iterator will also be equal to the, hold up, let me, I think I have this somewhere. Pen, yeah, Epic Pen. New application, meant to go ahead and open this up. So if we, let's go back to our LeetCode problem. If we take the 4th node and we do call next, then that's going to set temp equal to 5. And 5 is pointing to a null, right? So if we loop twice when it's at 4, temp should be equal to null, right? And that's how we know it's from the nth value from the array. And if you do this at, say, if you do this at the 2nd value, why is it so big now? Yeah, let's turn that back down. If you do this at the 2nd value, when it calls .next twice for n equal to 2, it'll point from 2 to 3 and then from 3 to 4, giving us not a null value, right? But if you do that at the correct value, you should get null, right? And then it's going to break out of the loop, and that way, because if it doesn't break out of the loop, we will have 5. Oh, I keep on hitting the scroll wheel, that's why. If it doesn't break out of the loop, then 5 right here would call .next, and then now temp will be null, and then we'll try to call .next on null, and you can't do that because null points to nothing. So this is the only solution I could think of. So we're going to create a temp variable equal to the iterator for each point in the linked list. And then if you loop over the temp variable and set the temp.next over n times, when temp finally equals null after the loop, that's when we're going to have the value that we want. So we can do a system.out call, .println to confirm this, and we can do iterator.value, and it should be the value we want to remove from the list, right? Oh, yeah. So we need a semicolon there. We also want to be able to, we also want to break when temp equals null, because if not, we'll try to call .next on a null character. I mean a null value. You can see that our standard output is 4, and it expects us to remove 4. So we know for sure that we have found and then our standard out is 1, and it wants us to remove 1. And then for test case, this one, our standard out is 2. That's the value we want to remove. And then you see it wants us to remove 2. So right now we have the logic to find the nth value, right? So we're going to remove this system out. And the way to remove the temp value is, this is why we have the previous, right? So the previous node is pointing to 3, even though we P is 3, and then our iterator is 4. So we want to set P.next. P.next is equal to 4 right now. We want P.next to be equal to the iterator.next, because it will relink this up and skip the 4 completely, right? And so if we hide this, we want this to be equal to temp.next. Or we can do previous.next.next. It's the same thing, but we want the value of 5, or the list node of 5, to be pointed at by the 3, right? So then we can do temp.next, and I'm pretty sure the solution is valid, and we can go ahead and run it. See if it goes for the test case. Did I do temp.list? Okay, brain fart. Temp.next. And then we can see, cannot read next because local is null. Oh, the problem is I called temp. We don't want to call temp because we just checked if temp was null. So temp is only going to be null when it's at the end of the list, and iterator should be at the value we want to remove, right? So do iterator.next. And there you go. As you can see, it works for the 3 test cases they ran, and if we go ahead and submit it, we should be able to, yeah. So 0 milliseconds beats 100%. And I thought our solution was pretty nice. So what we did here is we set a solution equal to a new, we kind of used a dummy node. If you go ahead and we set a dummy node right here with 0 that points to 1. The only reason we did this is in the case that it is, in my first solution, I returned head instead of, I returned head at the end instead of the, where's it at? Instead of like a solution that points to the previous, because head in the example 2, head is pointing to one linked node, and or it references one linked node, and we went ahead and removed it from the value, so we should return a null linked list, right? But since I returned head pointed at 1, even though we in the original list it's not in there anymore. Based on our logic, head is still pointing to 1 no matter what. So that wasn't a good solution. So what we did is we created this the solution node that points to the list. We created an iterator that is equal to the first value in the list, right? So iterator is here. And then solution and previous are both pointing to this node, or references this node. And we want to be sure to loop over this until iterator is equal to null. And then we set iterator equal to iterator.next. That is the basic logic to loop through a linked list. And then we also want to iterate our previous list, a linked list node. So it's all constantly following the iterator.next. So when we do find the value we want to remove, we're able to link the previous pointer to the next pointer. So in the case of 3 and 5, we want to have p equal to this. I keep on doing that. We want p to be pointing to 3, and then we want our iterator to be at 4. And then that way we can use the p to link 3 to 5 and just remove the 4 completely, right? And the logic to be able to find the nth to last value was we created a temp variable. We set it to iterator, so they're pointing at the same. And then we loop n times and set temp equal to temp.next. Whenever temp is equal to null, we know we found the nth from the last variable, right? So previous.next is equal to iterator.next. This is the logic to relink the list for those 2 nodes. And then we want to break out of the loop, because if we don't, when temp.next, when this line is called for the last iteration of the for loop, it's going to call temp.next on a null, which you can't do, and Java will yell at you. And then once it breaks, so we know that the solution is valid. And yeah, I thought this was an easier problem for a medium problem. But we also have been doing linked lists for the past few days, so I'm kind of like locked in for the linked list. It only took me like 5-10 minutes to actually come up with the solution, so it isn't too bad. And so I think that's gonna be all for today's video. We're just gonna do this one video. I got some food cooking. It's got 20 minutes left now, but I'm gonna go check that. Maybe I'll get my girl. We're gonna watch some Demon Slayer and eat. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Oh, there's a few things I want to say. thank y'all for all the support so far on the last few videos. I didn't think we would get as much traction as we have. It's not like we exploded or anything. It's not like, but I'm very thankful for the 40 subscribers we have, 46 subscribers we have now. I mean, look at that. I mean, I didn't think I'd have 5 this week. But our first video got almost 700 views. We have another video with 400 views. I know our watch time isn't that high, so for the few people that made it to the end, y'all are some real ones. Go ahead and leave a like. Go ahead and leave a subscribe. And I've gotten a bunch of nice comments from so many different people just saying, good job, man. Like, keep it up. You're going to get a job eventually. And like this one kid said he was inspired to be like me. And I was like, that's so flattering to me because I just made this channel on a whim, thinking like I need to do LeetCode. This will make me keep doing LeetCode. And now we're on day 8, just a week and 1 day after we started. We have 46 subscribers. That's like almost halfway to 100. So I'm thinking like when we get 100 subscribers, I'm going to do LeetCode for a whole hour. And I think I'm going to do one easy problem, one medium problem, and one hard problem. And kind of go through so we can kind of, and then at the end we can kind of compare and contrast the differences from the easy, medium, and hard problems. But I think at day 14, that's when we're going to step away from linked list problems and go into some other topics so we can, expand our brains a little bit. Also had someone talking about, he had some like real world projects that he's been working on. He asked if he shouldn't be working on his project anymore and start doing LeetCode. I don't think that's true. I think if you are actively producing good code and it's being used and other people are using it, employers and people that want to hire you would rather see that than someone that can solve 400 LeetCode problems and not actually use it to make something, right? The way I explained it in the comment was kind of like an employer won't even look at your resume if you haven't made anything interesting and useful to other people, right? What I mean by useful is something that is well made, well documented, and people are using it. They want to see that it is useful in the real world and that people are wanting to use it, right? Like they would rather see that than if I put in my resume, I completed 400 LeetCode problems. But where LeetCode comes into play is it helps you refresh on your data structures and algorithms, right? Because that's all it is. Like linked list is a data structure. I've done like 4 linked list problems. That is helping me remember how to work with linked list, even though I've already used linked list before. Once we get into different sorting algorithms and searching algorithms that aren't as familiar to me, those are going to be harder to do, but it's good to learn, right? But when you you need projects to even get looked at and get the interview. But once you get the interview, they're going to ask you some questions that are similar to LeetCode's. And that's when LeetCode is useful, because you're able to solve the problems and know what you're talking about instead of scrambling and like I can't ask ChatGPT or search the web for the solution to this like I would when I was creating a project. But once you get the job, and for majority from what I know is once you get the job and you're working as an actual developer or front end, back end, whatever your job is, they're going to let you use the web and use your sources to create your code. But they also want someone that is knowledgeable about what they're using. And that's kind of what the LeetCode does. It randomly, they want you to know about binary trees. They want you to know about breadth first search and depth first search and pre-order and post-order of the nodes. I mean, all that stuff is not saying you will use it every day in your job. It's just nice to know. Anyways, enough rambling. I appreciate all the super nice comments, all the likes, all the subscribes. And we're about to hit 50 subscribers, which is a huge goal for me. I was super excited that first day when I got 10 subscribers, and then like it's making me super excited knowing that we're about to have 100. Like we're almost halfway to 100. So if we can get 100, I'm gonna do something big, and it's gonna be a lot of programming. Another thing I've been thinking about doing is kind of piggybacking off what I said earlier about you won't get looked at if you haven't made a project. I'm gonna use this YouTube channel to post my devlogs when I actually start developing something. School and work right now is kind of ramped up, so I'm thinking this winter I'll be able to or maybe over our Thanksgiving break, I can start on it. And this winter I really want to develop some type of application in Java and be able to develop it and then test it, and then I want to study what the production line is like. What I mean by production line is like, how do people make applications from start to finish? What's the most used methodologies and methods? And then kind of showcase that, and then we will implement that when we're creating our own code or our own application, and kind of walk you through the steps of me learning it and then me actually implementing it. And then once we do that, we can create a product, we can ship it, and then maybe it will be useful and somebody will want to use it. And also, another good thing about making a YouTube video is of the 107 people that watch the video or whatever, one or two of them are bound to use my application, right? Or at least try it out, which is kind of what I want to do. I mean, it gives me publicity. Good publicity. It's not like I'm fishing for publicity. I'm doing this for fun. But I mean, someone will see it that's not me and want to use it and tell other people about it. And that's kind of what you want. So that's why a bunch of game devs have YouTube videos, and they make goofy content about their games to try to get more people to download it and buy it, and they make a little bit of money from it. But we're not going to be making any money from it. I just want to see that it's useful to people, right? And that's what an employer wants to see, that you're able to create your own stuff and do it on your own. So we're going to use this channel for devlogs, and we're going to keep on doing the LeetCode so we can pass interviews. Later on, when I start actually making my resume, which will probably be next semester in school, technically I'm a senior now, but I have the rest of the semester and 2 more semesters to go. So you could say technically it's my 3rd year. And so once we finish this year, we'll be going on to my 4th year in college, and I'll have 1 semester left. But anyways, we're doing LeetCode. I'm thinking about using this channel for devlogs when I actually create the project, and like my process and methodology I've learned to make the project, and we can go from there. But once again, I want to thank everyone for interacting with the channel. It really means a lot. It makes me want to do more, and I have been really enjoying staying consistent and doing this every day. And I will definitely be back tomorrow. So y'all stay blessed, stay safe, and Hey Devs is out.